Intersection Magazine Podcast.
Welcome to Intersection Magazine Podcast. This week I'm sharing a piece that will feature in the November issue of the magazine, and I called it The Weaponization of Information. And it's really my exploration of the future of warfare. Now, this piece is inspired by some conversations I had while listening and engaging with social media, but it also helps explain and expand an area in which I have some interest, which I pursued and evaluated and maybe commented on a few months ago in my movie review section. So I hope you enjoy this. It has some relevance with the current events that are going on, but of course it also has implications for what I believe to be the future of warfare. For those that have subscribed, thank you for subscribing. For those that are yet to subscribe, we look forward to serving you. This is Nicholas Kianda, and thank you for listening. So we're in the month of October. This is the 24th of October, 2024. And it's been a year and a few months since Hamas carried out an attack on Israel. And ever since, there's been a back and forth between the two countries with quite a lot of destruction. Now, in the middle of this battle, a Jewish investigative journalist came across some interesting tools that are being utilized by military intelligence to carry out more effective attacks for the Jewish or for the Israeli side, for the Israeli army. And he put these together and revealed this through a newspaper article. One of the tools, I believe, is called Lavender, while the other is called Where's Daddy? Now, Lavender utilizes, as far as we know, all the information that exists online about conversations, about posts on Facebook, posts on X and other platforms, Meta, WhatsApp groups, and all sorts of other information. Of course, some of these tools are much better protected, but it utilizes this information to figure out who may be a combatant and who may need to be targeted when campaigns are made or when drone attacks are initiated. Now, the second tool that is weirdly called Where's Daddy or Daddy is Home utilizes artificial intelligence to figure out when the target has physically arrived at what it summarizes to be a place of residence, so that if the person is at home, then that's the most effective place that they can be eliminated to minimize casualties, or what they call collateral damage. Now, A few months ago, I did a review of a film, of a series. I believe it's a Netflix series. I stand corrected. Or Hulu, I believe. Called Class of '09. It's really about FBI set of students who go through training, and it's a story in 3 dimensions. I'll describe it as 3 dimensions, where you have the present, the future, and the past. Now, one of the most important characters in this series is a lady who's developed a smart computer that uses intelligence, history, data to predict what citizens are likely to commit crimes in the future. So it's essentially a predictive intelligence tool. As fate would have it, the tools falls into the wrong hands and people start being eliminated without consent of the human hosts or subjects. So it's really a battle between those who wish to see the tool continue to be utilized and profited from, and those who wish to see a more humane way of handling a crime. Now, when I watched that series, and a few others, for example, if you watch, I don't know if it was Eye in the Sky, there's a series or there's a movie which features an artificial intelligence or an intelligence software or tool that has the ability to control everything that has a chip in it. And it tries to eliminate the President of the United States by using the brother to a former military man. So you go through an interesting conversation where, for example, he arrives home and he finds tons of contraband military equipment that has been ordered through his name. The computer calls him on his phone, tells him to leave before he's arrested. He goes to his ATM that was at zero, and all of a sudden his ATM has hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this tool begins to think for itself and to control events in the lives of key people as it orchestrates its plan. So, of course, some of these stories are created to help illustrate what possibilities exist with technology or robotics or computing and some ideas of what they call sentience, where they believe that at some point, or they question the ability of artificial intelligence or robots, for that matter, to achieve a sense of identity that we as human beings have, but also attempt to get us to the position where we are wary that these robots may at one point turn on us. Now, the predictive element in the series Class of '09 is what I'm interested in, because if you look into the concerns that are expressed in Lavender and the tool Where's Daddy that has been utilized in the Middle East, is first of all the predictive element that underlies the software, as well as the sense in which we are transferring the responsibility of deciding who lives and who dies, and we're giving that to computers, which is really, in a sense, a cop-out. But if you think about what all of us are trying to do with warfare, is from the time we developed, or from the time gunpowder was developed, we started distancing ourselves from the close physical effects of murder and death and killing one another, because warfare was a very personal thing in the past. The handgun allowed us to kill from a distance. The bombs allowed us to kill from a distance. The drones are also expressions of that you can be stationed in a container or in an 8-foot container in the US and direct a device in the Middle East and watch it bring devastation, and then go back home and enjoy your cup of coffee and watch American Idol. So there's a sense in which we're distancing ourselves from the effects of our actions. We're doing the same in our use of language. We no longer say kill, we say eliminate or neutralized. So we're trying to also sanitize our language to help separate ourselves from the consequences of some of the actions that we're doing. So that's one part that I think is notable. The other part that I kind of noticed after the 7th attacks was, you could see this, I believe, in Vietnam and as well as Afghanistan, was that the nature of war, especially if it's asymmetrical, if one foe is obviously stronger than the other, is this forces the weaker one to use tactics that may seem unfair. In this case, the weaker foe has been criticized for embedding himself with civilians so as to prevent eliminations. Maybe this is what Lavender and Where Is Daddy have tried to eliminate by making sure that artificial intelligence identifies a point in time when those who are supposed to be killed are in their homes. So that's one part. The second part is the idea that, as was in the case with Vietnam, that there's the subterranean nature of this war. We've conquered space and we're trying to conquer space, the skies, we've conquered land, we've created vehicles that can move on land, artillery, all sorts of machines. But then there's another frontier, which is the subterranean frontier. And there are some who are more adept at this than others. The third part that I noticed was how standard tools, such as motorcycles, were converted and utilized and turned into vehicles of war. You could describe this as innovations in war and the turning needs and necessities into creativity, which is a sad fact. Now, those are, of course, the three concerns or the three notable things that I saw in the attack last year. But then, of course, as well as the two tools that have emerged that the journalists from Israel revealed exist that are making use of artificial intelligence. So where do you come in? Well, every day you wake up in the morning, you check your Instagram, you like, you subscribe to certain channels, you pay, you comment on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, you say what you want to say about your government, you do all sorts of things. But what if all this information was weaponized against you? We've heard of so many young people who have walked into job opportunities only to be rejected because of what they said or what they posted on social media. So the weaponization of information is a reality we have to face. The second point I had before was about a certain sense of abdication that as a society we're taking on, and it's part of a bigger strategy. There's a social media tool that provides extensive database of videos that you can watch for free, of movies and series. But recently there's been a crackdown by intellectual property advocates, and many of these channels are shutting down. But at the same time, as they have been shutting down, others have been coming up that are run by bots or mini robots. And the trick, or how this works, is there is probably no law that prohibits a bot from offering a service of that kind. There is no law that prohibits or that can describe the infringement of a copyright by a bot. So intellectual property experts are going to have to get back to the drawing board and include software that infringes on copyrights held by human agents, so to speak. And that, in a sense, is a small illustration or a small story of what's going on with the use of drones and the use of artificial intelligence in human warfare. It's, in a sense, a bit of what you could describe as plausible deniability, where we as humans could claim that it wasn't us who did the killing, but it was a robot or a drone or artificial intelligence. It was a machine. So the punishment no longer falls on a fellow human, but it falls on a robot. Maybe this is where we are going in the future, and that's fine if the robots continue to be as dumb as we think they're always going to be. But maybe the turning point will be when they get some form of sentience or thinking, or when they develop a sense of self-identity. But maybe I'm overthinking this, or maybe this is a bit too far off. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the weaponization of information. I hope you guys found this useful. Hit the subscribe button for more content. Thank you for subscribing.
Intersection Magazine Podcast.